Imagine dedicating months of your life to study for this massive, life-changing exam. You put in the endless hours.
Yeah, you make all those sacrifices.
Exactly, the sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then a machine just coldly flags you as a cheater.
Hmm.
Or, even worse, imagine an algorithm deciding it's time for you to be fired.
Right, and it makes that final call just based entirely on your sick leave.
Yeah, it's incredibly chilling. So welcome to today's deep dive. We are looking at a massive collision today. It's this fundamental collision between artificial intelligence and, well, basic human trust.
And it is happening everywhere right now.
It really is. We've got a fascinating roadmap for you today. First, we're going to examine how AI is completely upending university admissions in Mexico.
Then we'll look at how it warps our shared online reality.
Right. And finally, we'll uncover how it quietly makes these ruthless corporate firing decisions. Before we jump in, though, I have to offer a slightly vulnerable admission here.
Oh.
Yeah, I still wrestle with whether I can actually trust an algorithm to fairly evaluate human effort. Honestly, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself.
Oh, right.
Which is when AI quietly changes answers to the exact same instructions over time.
It's really hard to place your trust in a constantly moving target. The ground is just always shifting beneath you.
Exactly. So let's start right at the beginning of a person's career. We're looking closely at university admissions today.
The primary battle lines of AI trust are currently being drawn right here. We're focusing on Mexico's top university, UNAM.
Right, a massive, highly prestigious institution. They recently held their very first fully online entrance exam. And, well, the sheer scale of this is hard to wrap your head around. Over 158,000 applicants took this remote test.
Whoa. Imagine monitoring 158,000 applicants simultaneously.
Yeah.
It's a staggering logistical challenge for any institution. To handle that volume, they deployed a very intense surveillance system. They essentially turned each student's laptop into a strict digital panopticon.
Let's unpack how that surveillance actually functioned. The testing platform utilized severe browser restrictions first. That means installing software that physically stops you from opening any other applications.
Right.
But they didn't stop there. They required active webcams and open microphones the entire time.
Right. And they had human proctors attempting to watch the feeds. But human eyes can only do so much at that scale,
Yeah, obviously.
So they layered an overarching AI monitoring system on top of everything. The algorithm was instructed to relentlessly hunt for any suspicious behavior.
It sounds incredibly secure on paper. It sounds like an airtight digital testing environment. But then the final data actually came back. Historically, only about 3.5% of students managed to score above 100 correct answers.
Yeah, that's the firmly established historical baseline for this specific exam. It is a notoriously difficult test.
But this year, under the watchful eye of the AI, that number abruptly jumped to 16.3%.
Which is a massive statistical anomaly. You just don't see organic jumps like that naturally. An increase of that magnitude implies a systemic failure somewhere in the chain.
Something clearly went incredibly wrong during this process. UNAM reacted quickly and disqualified more than 3,000 of these online exams.
And the fallout actually goes much further than just those 3,000 disqualified students. The trust in the entire digital ecosystem has collapsed.
Yeah. They're now forcing tens of thousands of applicants to completely retake it. These students must travel to take a physically supervised control exam now.
The administration claims the initial scores just fell into a highly suspicious range. The political pressure surrounding this has become immense. Even President Claudia Sheinbaum has publicly demanded a full investigation into the debacle.
Because you have thousands of innocent students caught in this bureaucratic nightmare. But here's the core conflict at the center of this story. The students are heavily questioning the automated system itself. They're actively wondering if the AI can actually tell the difference. Can this algorithm genuinely distinguish clever cheating from legitimate high performance?
That is the critical underlying flaw in this whole surveillance setup. The AI is fundamentally looking for behavioral anomalies, but extreme focus and high performance often look a lot like cheating to a rigid algorithm.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, if a student stares unblinkingly at the screen while thinking deeply, the AI flags it.
It's kind of like setting a highly sensitive burglar alarm for your house.
Yeah.
But the alarm goes off every single time the wind blows outside.
Yeah, exactly.
How do we ever know who actually broke in?
You just get completely flooded with false positives. When everything is flagged as suspicious, the system becomes entirely useless. The university administrators end up drowning in unverified alerts.
So if both the cheaters and the proctors are using AI, who actually wins this arms race?
Right now, profound uncertainty is the only real winner here. Universities are relying heavily on these automated systems to detect AI assistance or cheating. But those systems simply cannot provide unquestionable proof of a violation.
Right.
They can't definitively prove a student actually intended to break the rules. So, perfectly innocent students inevitably get caught in the digital crossfire.
So AI spots patterns, but it still can't definitively prove human intent.
Exactly. It highlights anomalies, but it's completely blind to the human context.
Well, we just saw that we can't fully trust AI to monitor a simple test. But what happens when we literally can't trust it to show us reality?
Or what happens when tech leaders go to war over who controls it. The stakes get significantly higher in this next phase. We're moving from academic testing to the manipulation of our global perception.
Let's look at Google Earth for a moment. They recently launched a brand new, highly anticipated AI feature.
And it was severely abused almost instantly by the public. People quickly figured out how to use it to create fake satellite images.
The generated imagery was incredibly realistic and honestly deeply concerning. It was so bad they had to remove the feature within 24 hours.
Wow.
Yeah, the fake landscapes and fabricated structural changes were just too convincing.
It really highlights how quickly generative AI can warp our shared reality. I mean, creating a fake satellite image could easily spark a massive geopolitical crisis.
Exactly. Then you have OpenAI struggling on the public relations front. They recently tried to host an exclusive luxury influencer trip.
Yeah, they booked a lavish $5,000 a night stay for these creators. It was clearly designed to be a massive, glossy marketing spectacle.
But the whole event backfired wildly online. The influencers were immediately accused of essentially selling their souls to big tech. One creator even deleted her video entirely after facing massive public backlash.
Yeah, people have a deeply visceral reaction to this kind of stuff. They actively reject the artificial manufactured gloss when it feels completely inauthentic.
So we're seeing these constant PR and perception nightmares play out publicly. But at the exact same time, massive institutional money is quietly moving.
Right. The real power is being consolidated entirely behind the scenes. While we argue about influencers, the enterprise data war is escalating.
Palantir just posted a staggering $1.1 billion quarterly profit. $1 billion in a single 3-month window.
And they don't deal in flashy consumer chatbots or influencer marketing campaigns. They deal in massive enterprise data integration and highly secure defense contracts.
And their CEO, Alex Karp, recently issued a very stark warning. He openly called the major frontier AI labs Marxist.
Just to quickly clarify the tech jargon for a second, Frontier AI Labs simply means companies building the most advanced AI models.
Right.
Think of organizations like OpenAI, Anthropic, or Google DeepMind.
Right. And I want to be extremely clear for you listening here. We are strictly reporting Karp's stated viewpoint as it appears in our sources. We remain entirely neutral on his specific political framing and rhetoric. We aren't endorsing it, but we need to understand what he means.
Well, he's using that provocative term to describe a specific data philosophy. He claims these massive labs are actively trying to control companies' proprietary data. He says they fundamentally want to absorb and control all enterprise workflows.
It's a truly fascinating disconnect when you zoom out. We have these massive tech giants utterly failing to control basic image generators.
Right.
They
Yeah.
literally can't even manage a luxury PR trip without triggering a massive backlash.
But despite those clumsy public failures, they are fighting a billion-dollar war. They're fighting tooth and nail over the ultimate control of global enterprise workflows.
Why is there such a massive gap between AI's struggle with simple reality like faked satellite photos and this high-stakes battle for corporate data?
It really comes down to the underlying complexity of the tasks. Generating convincing visual illusions is actually mathematically quite easy for AI now. It's essentially just predicting pixel patterns based on existing public imagery. But securely managing an entire global enterprise's private data is vastly more complex. That requires flawless security, precise logic, and absolute reliability.
Yeah, that makes sense.
That is exactly why Karp is aggressively defending corporate data autonomy. He's fiercely defending corporate sovereignty against these major data-hungry AI labs.
Creating fakes is easy. Controlling secure enterprise data is the real billion-dollar war.
That's the perfect way to synthesize it. Visual perception is incredibly cheap now. Proprietary enterprise data is the actual enduring goldmine.
If these powerful tech leaders are fighting a war over corporate data, what happens when that data is actually you?
That's where this transition gets deeply personal and, frankly, quite unsettling. We're crossing a very dangerous line in the workplace right now.
We're moving far away from AI clumsily grading university tests. We're moving way past AI faking satellite images of the globe. We are now looking at AI literally deciding if you get to keep your job.
This is undoubtedly the most alarming part of our source material today. It fundamentally changes the relationship between employers and employees.
There's a shocking new, highly detailed survey out right now. It directly looked at 1,000 U.S. managers who actively use AI at work.
And these aren't theoretical researchers. These are real middle managers making real daily decisions about people's livelihoods.
The reported numbers in this survey are frankly staggering. A massive 59% of them use AI when making critical layoff decisions.
Over half of the managers surveyed are outsourcing these choices.
And 58% use it specifically for individual firing decisions. Even worse, 1 in 4 admit they use it for layoffs often or all the time.
It's rapidly becoming standard operating procedure inside corporate human resources. It's shifting from an experimental tool to a foundational management crutch.
But here's the most alarming statistical reality we found. A full 17% let AI make these termination decisions with little to no human supervision.
They're literally just handing over the keys to the algorithm. They let the machine choose who stays and who goes, no questions asked.
And a concerning 38% have zero training on ethical AI use in HR. Absolutely zero formal training on the tool ending their employees' careers.
They don't even fully understand what legal or moral boundaries they're risking. They're operating completely blind in a highly regulated space.
Let's look closely at the specific data actually being weighed here. The AI is obviously analyzing standard metrics like overall job performance. It looks at historical salary bands and an employee's total tenure.
Which all sounds like standard traditional HR data analysis.
But it is also heavily weighing deeply personal protected metrics. It's analyzing things like the frequency of sick leave.
Oh, wow.
It looks at extended medical leave, and is even analyzing employee age.
Those are highly sensitive, often legally protected areas of a person's life.
It's kind of like stacking colorful Lego blocks of data on a table. But these aren't just plastic blocks being sorted by an algorithm. They're actual livelihoods, mortgages, and families being coldly categorized.
That is exactly what is happening inside these black box models. Complex human beings are being violently reduced to simple, optimized data points.
And the necessary bias testing is practically non-existent across the board. A huge 58% of managers couldn't even confirm if their AI was tested. They honestly didn't know if it was tested for bias or discrimination.
Ignorance is definitely not a valid excuse when you're ruining careers.
Another 23% explicitly confirmed that no bias testing happened at all. They fully know the tool is completely untested, and they use it anyway.
They're actively using unverified algorithms to abruptly end human careers. The potential for systemic discrimination here is absolutely massive.
And the employee replacement factor we found is genuinely terrifying. 34% of the managers using AI for these layoffs asked a very specific question.
Right.
They literally asked the AI if it could just perform the fired employee's job.
Can you fire this person and then immediately do their daily work? It's a completely chilling dystopian loop of corporate efficiency.
Given that factors like medical leave and age are legally protected in many places, how are managers getting away with feeding this into an unmonitored AI?
The underlying technology has completely outpaced corporate policy and labor laws. Software vendors are rapidly adding these AI features to standard HR dashboards.
Right.
And because 38% lack ethical training, they completely ignore the need for bias testing. These managers are blindly trusting the confident outputs on their screens. They simply don't realize they might be generating highly illegal, discriminatory decisions.
The tech moves too fast, leaving managers blindly trusting potentially illegal, biased algorithms.
Exactly. The essential human oversight is just missing entirely from the equation.
We need to take a very quick break right here. Sponsor. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've certainly covered a massive amount of conceptual ground today.
We really have. We've jumped from university exams to global perception to corporate layoffs.
Let's take a moment to synthesize the overarching theme of these sources. We are rapidly deploying AI as an absolute, unquestionable authority right now.
It's happening silently across practically every major sector of society.
It ranges from UNAM's admissions department all the way to corporate HR offices. But we're doing this incredibly prematurely. We're deploying it widely before we actually have the ability to audit its truthfulness.
Or audit its underlying, potentially devastating biases. We're adopting the technology without adopting the necessary safety harnesses.
AI is essentially acting as the ultimate societal gatekeeper today, but the gatekeeper is operating entirely within an opaque black box.
It's a black box functioning without any proper, meaningful human oversight.
Thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive. We strongly encourage you to critically question the automated systems around you. Question how they operate in your workplace or your academic life.
You really have to actively advocate for human oversight in these systems. Don't just accept the algorithm's output as undeniable gospel.
I want to leave you with one final lingering thought today. Consider everything we just unpacked about how these automated systems govern our lives. If a faceless algorithm ultimately determines your hard-earned entry into a university,
Yeah.
and another algorithm coldly determines your abrupt exit from a company, where exactly is the space left in our society for human redemption, second chances, or just a simple bad day?